Hi guys. Today I'm going to discuss a really intriguing and provocative message that I got from a woman. She expressed her perspective on men going their own way and how she finds the entire concept to be a little odd after watching some of the videos online. This is what she says. So I was surfing online and came across Mig-Tao. This is something I had never seen before and the concept was new to me. Honestly speaking, I think it is highly toxic and extremely misogynistic. I mean, who are men to decide when and if they can be with a woman? I believe it is their duty to be with women. How can they just decide that they're not going to date women anymore? I believe that this is discriminatory, not because it is directed towards women, but because men aren't accepting responsibility. If I look at the videos or even read Mig-Tao blogs on websites, it's just emotionless words that seem like they're really genuine. I do appreciate the lack of direct antagonism against women in them. I feel that they're not meant to spread hatred for women, so that's a good thing. But I'm just perplexed why men wouldn't want to be with women anymore. I'm just really curious. I mean, I've seen academic writings similar to this, but with the genders reversed. You know, where a woman claims that men are nothing but problem makers before asserting gravely that all women should effectively convert to being romantically involved with other women. These publications go on to claim that physical contact with a guy can be nothing but violent, which is ridiculous unless we can fix oppressive gender relations. I don't mean to imply that women are never accountable for terrible acts, but I believe that these essentialist views of gender, whether they are directed at men or women, are destructive to both genders. I have a question. Do the men who back Mig-Tao support total gender segregation? Do you genuinely believe that women hold all the power, which frequently seems absolutely irrational to me? And how much of a role do you think men play in the dysfunctional relationships between men and women? How do you account for all the men in high positions of authority in politics and business amassing wealth? Do you adhere to any component of the patriarchal concept? I don't want to sideline your viewpoint. I just want to learn more about it. I'm just curious. That's the end of the message. Well, are we prejudiced if we won't sacrifice ourselves for women and want to take care of ourselves independently? Men who go their own way aren't unfriendly on purpose, but rather actively practice passive aggression. We are not at all misinformed. By taking the red pill, we can see through the thick fog of shadow control and manipulation that has been placed in front of us by women, state corporations, and cultural institutions to keep us blind. When we can see through this haze, we see that women purposefully make things complicated so that guys like us have to navigate our thinking and decisions for the rest of our lives. Men are now speaking out against the forced servitude that women have subjected us to for hundreds of years. We are now free, and if you accuse us of being misogynistic, you are nothing more than a dictator. Because we are being sincere, sane, and not irate about what we know, you are intrigued. If someone were to oppress them in the same way that women mistreat men, women would not only throw a temper tantrum, and they would involve the might of the state to delegitimize men on all fronts. By only giving us intimacy when we act right, many women have been able to manage our behavior. Women give guys physical intimacy, like cat biscuits, based on what they have already decided is appropriate conduct as a group. You normally give us your love, affection, and intimacy in return if we take you to a dinner party, buy you that luxury handbag you've always wanted, or any number of other favors and gifts. If we don't, you make our lives miserable. Mig-Tao men acknowledge that this is a raw trait of women. It's no longer a mystery to us, and many of us have experienced it long enough to recognize this as the authentic side of feminine nature. It is a complete waste of time to become enraged over it. Do we become upset when a child cries? Obviously not. Are we irritated when it rains? We obviously don't. Instead, we have a backup plan, and for us, that plan is the internet. Our knowledge serves as our defense, and since no one else will be able to tell us the truth, we are exchanging our knowledge among ourselves. You also claim that a lot of female authors or researchers write about men in published journals and talk about them in scholarly conferences. They talk about men and how they're a problem for women, and that maybe women should consider romantically being with other women. In my opinion, these are women who are afraid of men. Men's ability to withstand pressure and take on what life throws at them makes them nervous. They know what they can't have, so they don't want any other woman to have it. If you've ever attended a feminist rally, you probably noticed that there are a lot of bi women there trying to incite hatred of men so that young, impressionable women will flock to them and become romantically interested in them. As men going our own way, we are primarily straight males, and we don't tell men to abandon women and shack up with other men. We don't try to manipulate each other in same ways that these female authors do, you know, the researchers that you're talking about. Most of us have loved women, and for many of us, this is the difficult final step toward understanding that we must give up the fantasy of love. Women use the illusion of love to keep men acting like boys throughout their adult lives. Society fears true men because they live their lives for themselves and without regret. Men who go their own way believe that society intentionally makes us sad and dissatisfied in order to make us more productive in other ways. But the truth is that when we're content, we work even harder. However, society is afraid of our joy. At least you consider males to be more than just aggressive creatures when it concerns physical intimacy. You also claim that gender stereotypes and fundamental precepts can be detrimental to both men and women. In general, women relate to one another in society in a more cooperative manner. Women are therefore more likely than men to fall victim to gender stereotypes. Men's worldviews, on the other hand, are more diverse since men tend to be lone wolves and more autonomous. I realize that stereotypes can be harmful in some situations. However, since the majority of males are unaware of female gynocentric ideas, they require broad information to understand the notions. I also use my own personal experiences, as well as those of other males around me when I talk about particular women. And in response to your thoughtful inquiries concerning Mig-Tao, I've discussed both the positive and negative aspects. You first inquire as to whether we are in favor of complete gender segregation. Although many of us are content to occasionally date and have personal relationships with women, we don't desire complete gender segregation. More importantly, we won't give up our lives, our money, or our way of life to comply with some of the unreasonable demands that women may make of us. You also wonder why there are so many guys in powerful positions in politics and business. The solution is actually fairly straight. Men build enterprises, develop, innovate, and create. Women control and distribute the majority of the wealth and innovations that men produce. Since men are the ones who invent everything, why shouldn't they be the ones to profit and effectively hold on to power? Facebook was created by a man, and so was Google, which was founded by two men. You're basically arguing that since men invented the steam engine and built their enterprises, created and developed 99 other things that have made lives across the world easier, then they should just hand over their control to women. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Men who hoard riches and power typically do so to make it easier for them to attract women, who, incidentally, are also attracted to successful and wealthy men. Power and fortune are also means to an end for the majority of men. When men lose their ability to amass wealth and power, they stop caring since there is no use in working for nothing. You also asked me what I think about patriarchy. In answer, I would say that the idea of patriarchy is used to imply that men and women must share power equally, thus denying men their rights. However, it isn't just about power. It's also about accountability. Men are in charge of maintaining vital infrastructure, including buildings, factories, and highways. However, women are reluctant to work in construction and road maintenance. They reject taking on responsibilities. They want to be city planners, instructing those road workers from the convenience and security of a desk on what has to be repaired. Women won't fully understand what it's like to be a male until they are forced to rely entirely on themselves. Men don't give and receive gifts from one another. In other words, there are no freebies for men. If I ask my friends for free help with a project, the majority of my friends will just tell me to buzz off. But if I pay them, they'll get there on time and get the job done. There is always a beta guy or a white knight willing to grant women's requests for free favors when they utilize their allure and charm to entice men. Men would never experience such a thing because it is a female-only privilege. I hope this clarifies the topic of men going their own way and explains why this thought originated from the reality that men have had to deal with an unfair system for a very long time. That's it for today, guys. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.